Each time a rider steps on a machine, he's tempted to push himself beyond known limits. This program is dedicated to those pros and weekend warriors who willingly risk arriving at the point of impact. Hello everyone and welcome to the program. Coming up, we have a full hour covering action from 10 categories of 2- and 4-wheeled motorsport, including scenes like this from the Harley-883 series. These beautiful machines have a distinctive sound and always make for exciting incidents. Then on to the world of stock cars, the sport of horsepower and nerves. We'll see highlights from the Busch Grand National Series, including action with the great Richard Petty. Then on to motocross, as you'll see some of the best in the world, including Jean-Michel Bale, Guy Cooper, Damon Bradshaw, Jeff Stanton, and Jeff Ward, at some of the most demanding tracks across the United States. We also have scenes from amateur racing where the riders get bit more often and go down just as hard as the pros. Then back to the high-banked oval track racing of classic Indy cars. You'll see great cars from the past that evolved through the years, and as the speeds increased, so did the incidents. Incredible action from superbikes as well, from the most demanding tracks across the United States: Loudon, Daytona, Texas World Speedway, and more. Then on to something that looks like a lot of fun for the spectators. We'll see everybody with a throttle challenge this steep, sandy hill, and for those who don't make it to the top, the machine heads back down like a ren horse at feeding time. Then we'll take you to the world of dirt track racing, where weekend warriors race tight tracks and often get together, as you can see here. Then some fast drag racing action, like these jet-powered funny cars that reach speeds of over 250 miles an hour in just over 6 seconds. Absolutely spectacular. We're also going to take a look at some unusual monsters, like this beautiful monster vet. Fortunately for us, not all of these beauties remain as beautiful as when they started. Here's a case of man conquering his environment. Sometimes, though, the ice fights back. And there's no sense letting those snowmobiles sit idle all summer. This sport requires intense skill and concentration. The Harley-883 Series. This is Charlotte Motor Speedway. And some of the tracks they race are high-banked oval tracks designed more for stock car racing, with a more traditional road racing edition through the infield. There you see they're on that high-banked oval, coming down the straightaway. Now they're on the infield there, the more traditional road racing course. There's number 1, Scott Zampak, 1991 Harley Series champion. Now, watch this group. Watch number 64 there on the left of your screen. He comes into the chicane off the straight, and wow, hello, hay bales, into it. He's thinking about what he just did right there, an impossible outbraking maneuver through a very crowded and very tight chicane. We're going to see this one again in slow motion. Watch number 64. That's James Leslie. He's on the left side of your screen right now. He's going to try and dive to the inside of number 76. But as you see, he gets into the chicane, and there's absolutely nowhere to go. He makes contact with the other bike, and bam, right into the hay bale. He's shaken up, but hopefully he's none the worse off, just a little wiser. Now, there's Zampak again on the transition from the infield section to the bank oval. Now, watch the back of your screen here for number 13. There he is, coming into the corner, under braking. The front tire slips out, and he goes down. Textbook slide into the dirt there. Nice, safe runoff areas. The marshal comes over to take the bike out of gear and ends up with just a sore hand for his effort. Zampak again, up onto the high banked oval. We'll have a chance here to see the bikes at speed and to get some idea of what they're going through during the course of a race. Okay, now here's the action in slow motion. Watch for the fifth man through, number 13 right there. Under braking, the front wheel goes out and he slides, sparks flying everywhere, thrashing that beautiful machine. Oh. Right now, the rider gets up unhurt. Now we'll see some great racing. That's Scott Zampak, number 1, series points leader, chases number 3, Nigel Gale, the race leader. Now here, coming into this right-hander, they tangle with back markers. Gale gets through all right, but Zampak gets squeezed and one rider goes down, then both. An absolutely incredible crash. Now Zampak has a championship on the line and he wants back in this race. There's John Stauffer, number 883, the man he tangled with. He comes over the wall. And he makes the obligatory shove against the marshal. Out of my way. Then he lands a hand to Zampak to get him back in the race. Gale cruises on to an easy victory. Well, an easier victory now that Zampak's down. We'll get a shot of Zampak's machine here in just a minute. Here he comes around the corner. Handlebars bent down. And look at the alignment on that bike. It has been totally twisted. That must have been an incredible impact into that tire wall and subsequent thrashing of the machine to really bend it up. We'll get another shot of it. Here it is in slow motion. You see Gale comes through. He slips through beautifully, but 883 drifts towards the outside. Zampak says, out of my way, gives him a shove, but for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, and Zampak hits the tire wall and over into the runoff area. You can see how that is a wall designed for motorcycle safety right there. First the tires, then the dirt wall, then some runoff before you get to the metal barricade. Zampak's mind's going a million miles an hour here, and he wants back in the race, back into the championship. Now here's a shot in slow motion where we can see just how badly that alignment is bent up. The front wheel's going east, the rear wheel's going west, and the handlebars are going every which way. Here it is. As the bike goes away from our view, you'll get a really good shot of just how badly this bike has been twisted. Fortunately, Scott Zampak was not injured in that crash, and he talked about it at the following race.
Scott, you got to help me out in here. I'm running out of things to ask you in Winter Circle. You've been here so many times in 1992. How was it out there?
Well, it was a tough race. I'll tell you, I had a little bad luck at Mid-Ohio. Got it tangled up with a lapped rider and about had the ride for life over the guardrail. So this is my first ride back. Don built a brand new motorcycle, and I'll tell you, the thing worked excellent.
Okay, this is the following race. Texas World Speedway. Gale, number 3, the new series points leader, chases Zampak, number 1, through the infield chicane. You watch here. Number 3, there's Gale in the background. He goes wide on that turn and hits the curb, shoots straight up onto the high-banked oval. He's going to hold it, but no, hits the wall. He can't believe his bad luck. Shaking his fist. Absolutely. It looked like he was going to hold on to it there, but didn't have quite enough runway. Here it is again in slow motion. Beautiful shot of Zampak at speed through the corners. You can see he's going to hit the brakes here. There he goes. Downshifting. Ready for this very tight group of chicanes on the infield that'll bring him back up onto the high-banked oval. Gale catches up, outbraking him into that corner just a little bit, but Gale will pay for that speed coming out of this corner, up onto the curb, and nowhere to go. There's no way he can make that. He decides to shoot straight up onto the high-banked oval and looks like he's going to save it, but just runs out of room. Tags the wall, and he's down, cursing his bad fortune. But as almost 100% of them, he wants back into this race. Now on to the world of stock cars, where most everyone turns left most of the time. And when they don't, we show it to you. Some say early stock car racers got their start as rum runners during Prohibition, trying to beat the sheriff to the county line. And while the sport has advanced well beyond these days, the drivers still have that aggressive edge of bumping and running. Here's a car that smacked the wall and comes smoking into the pit. Another smack. Watch the rear tires explode as he slides into the safe area of the infield. Now, here's that same crash from a remote camera. You see he spun out into the wall, hit hard in the back there. Now he's coming sliding down. Amazing control to bring it down off the curtain and clear out of the way. Now there's Richard Petty, number 43, on the outside, coming around one of the high-banked oval corners, and he slips down. The front wheel hits the number 5 car, and total mayhem results. Petty is sliding from side to side down that straightaway, bringing the number 4 Kodak car and the number 5 Levi Garrett car. Here it is again in slow motion. Watch Petty. He's up high on that bank track, and as he begins to come out of turn 4 there, the front end slides down, smacking the Levi Garrett car, which sends him into a spin. Petty tries to correct, but is nowhere to go. That number 7 car, though, threads the needle, and he's through uninjured. The other 3 cars, though, are collected and smack themselves right down the straightaway. Bam! One more hit for Petty, just for good measure. Here's a pack with the lead car's driver rear window. Watch that rear window as the driver waves to the cars ahead. That's what he was trying to signal the drivers behind about. Someone had spun out and smacked the wall. We're going to see this again, get a better view of it in just a moment here. Now, here's the same crash from the in-car camera. Watch as number 5 comes around. He makes the pass on the camera car. He's hot, though. His rear end is swaying, and he hits the grass. That spins him into the wall. He's gone. Goodbye. Now, the Miller Highlight driver steers straight into the crash, thereby avoiding it. Things happen at such speeds. Now, there's a car, number 27, who smacked the wall, and he's slowly disintegrating, spreading debris all over the track. A very dangerous situation in NASCAR driving. There he is, the Kodiak car. He is smoking those tires now. The other drivers behind now can't see, creating a very dangerous situation, but he's got his mind on getting back to the pits, and doesn't look like much is going to stop him. The 3 leaders at speed, you can see them drafting each other, moving down a straightaway, and it's a good thing they were up front, because back in the pack we've got Mayhem in turn 2. It looks like the 71 car that's high up on the wall right now. There he is, the Lifebuoy 71 car. He lost control. We're going to see that again. There's another shot of it. You saw he lost control. The Kodak car goes into him, and it sends cars flying all over that track. Now forcing everyone else down to the infield. Some of the aftermath. Here's a better shot of it. You see something happened to the 71 car, and that brought 4 and 71 together. They locked it up. Smoke flying everywhere. Everyone behind them had to lock it up. They lost it. Very dangerous situation in NASCAR. Forcing the other cars down onto the track through the infield. Now there's Petty again in the number 43 STP car coming down the straight. Now these guys are not afraid to fight for running room, but sometimes, oh, there they touch. Sometimes there's not enough room to run and the pack bunches up. Watch here, coming out of turn number 2. Petty's car drops down. 83's forced on the binders, and bam, right into him. The rest of the cars slide across, smoke and debris everywhere. A scene like this will really test your antiperspirant. Okay, we're going to see it again here. Watch Petty's car. It's the second car, the blue and orange car there in your frame. His front end drops down in front of 83, which forces 83 to hit the binders. And bam, bam, bam. These guys were not expecting to have to stop right there coming out of turn 2. Same thing causes a lot of crashes on the freeway. Here's a good shot of it now. Watch Petty's car drop down in front of that Kmart car. Petty's struggling to hold it high on the banking there. 83 has nowhere to go, tries to hit the binders, and bam, right into the back of him. And it's the end of their race day. Professional motocross, where in addition to 40 other riders, you have to battle the weather and just bad luck. Sometimes it's enough to give a rider the blues. Let's look at that again. There's Buddy Antonez coming over. He's in the lead. This is the first lap of the race up in Belmont, Pennsylvania. He comes off a high uphill jump and straight into a very difficult whoop section, and it bites him bad. The other riders cruising past. Buddy's out of this one. Here's Guy Cooper in very sandy Massachusetts. You'll see he comes down a very fast downhill straightaway, hits a rut, and it just sends him flying. We're going to watch this one again in slow motion. Watch for the rear end to swap out on Cooper here as he gets up. There he is. He's coming around. Very sandy section. The bike swaps to the right. Cooper is over and makes a very graceful landing. But again, like you'll see in many of these bike racers, they get back up and back into the competition right away. Now, here's the start at the very same track. This is Southwick, Massachusetts. This is a 250 start. Massive amount of riders coming down that straight. Everybody gets through. without a problem. But now they're going deep into the woods here. Very difficult section. Our intrepid cameraman holds his place, although he's got bikes coming straight at him, and it gets a little messy in there. Here's a start. Starts are always difficult. This is uphill, left-hand start, but it's very, very muddy, and sliding down goes one rider. Brian Sweek, number 15, goes right into him. Not a very good start. Now here's same track, same day, the 250s, much bigger bike, coming up that hill. Watch for number 2 right there. Jeff Stanton, he gets bottled up behind number 4, Damon Bradshaw, and goes down. Not a good place to be at the beginning of a race. Starts are tricky. Now here's a track, Binghamton, New York. Very hard packed, very rocky. They have a 180-degree turn here right off the straightaway. Watch number 11 right there. Gets his wheels taken out from under him by number 7, Mike LaRocco, who at this point in the season is the leader, season points leader. You can see LaRocco gets the whole shot, but leaves a mess behind him in turn 1. Now on to some amateur motocross, where the riders get bitten a little more often. But as you can see, they go down just as hard as the pros. Now to the world of the Indy cars. A beautiful combination of horsepower and finesse. Even back in the 70s, these cars were capable of speeds over 150 miles an hour. And at those speeds, accuracy is measured in very small degrees, and even the smallest error can send a car careening into the wall. Coming down the straightaway. These cars are awfully bunched up. There's a lot of them. Could lead to a potentially very dangerous situation, but to make it to Indy Car Racing, you've got to have a lot of training under your belt. There's a car, spins out in turn 4, hits the wall. His race day is over. Another smacks the wall. And this one during a qualifying day. Here's a car, spins out, coming onto the straightaway, and you can see the speed that these guys have. Oh, there's the qualifying crash again. We hope very much this fella has an extra car in the garage, because this one's not going to make it to race day. Oh, and one of the biggest fears for any race driver is fire. This car gets flipped over. We're going to see it again here in just a moment. This car gets flipped up on the front of another car and sends flying into the wall. Absolutely incredible. There's an older car, smacks the wall for good measure. Now watch this scene. Two cars get tangled together and the rest of them are forced down to the infield or up over the retaining wall. There's not much choices in where to go here. Watch, we're going to see this again. Watch for the car to fly up over. As the others come down through the infield, there goes the car up and over the retaining wall. And even down on the infield, things are a mess. Not much traction down there. Another car from the past spins through the infield, gets back up onto the track, and you can see how dangerous that can be as he just barely avoids hitting another car. Now there's a nice in-car shot coming into a turn. Now here's a classic shot from 1959 as a car tries to cut the inside of a corner and smashes into the wall. Spinning down the straight. Always a dangerous situation in IndyCar racing. As you'll see right here, cars spin out to avoid them and smash. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars. Another car comes spinning down, jolting to a stop. Very dangerous situation. Another spin out. Very common but very dangerous occurrence in IndyCar racing. Something you don't like to see, a spin inside the pits. There's a lot of fuel, a lot of things that could burn inside the pit area, not to mention a lot of people working. Very dangerous situation. Luckily there, no one was hurt. There's a car, loses his tire and spins. The tire decides to keep on going. Another spin into the wall. Once again, coming off turn 4 into the straightaway, the cars just spin out. Here's two cars get together. Those open wheel racers, when the tires hit, lock together, it's going to send somebody careening, and in this case, both drivers spin out. Nice smack of the wall. Oh! That car totally lost control and smashes into the wall. You can see the burst of flame as it skids against the wall, comes to a stop. Cars behind him have nowhere to go. But you can see the distance between these cars. There might have been some oil or some debris coming into that turn that sent each driver spinning out. Drivers slow down under the caution flag, down through the infield, and this one spins, and can he hold on to it? Nice safe move, a little flame there. Ooh. Spin out and barely avoids smacking the wall hard, but that sends him straight back into the center of the straight. Now watch this. A racer that's already crashed is getting out of his car. Marshals are behind him to help. When they see a car out of control spinning straight forward, here he comes. Watch it again. Oh, both marshals managed miraculously to jump out of the way. There was one marshal just behind that car that could have been smashed between the wall and the oncoming car. Indy racers at speed. Again, spins. You're going to see spins all the time on that oval high bank track at those speeds. When the adhesion of the tires breaks loose, it's all over. Oh, crash and fire. Fire is something you don't like to see in any motorsport, but you often do, especially in Indy Car Racing. Now to the two-wheeled world of superbikes. At Charlotte Motor Speedway for a Supersport 600 race. There's number 68, Mike Smith, loses the front end coming in a turn under braking, and bam! Did you hear the sound of that bike slide across and hit? There's nothing more distinct than the sound of a superbike crashing. The Honda rider is unhurt. Says hello to the marshal. We're going to see this again in slow motion. Now keep your eye on Smith, number 68, right there in the front. Now watch his front tire. He's going to leave a nice broad black streak across the track. As his front tire lets go under braking, he slides, keeping his feet up in front of him. The bike is thrashed and trashed, just missing our cameraman, who holds his position. Smith gets up, he's okay. His race day is over. Now, here's a superbike start at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Watch number 25, David Sadowski. There he goes. He's going down. Amazingly enough, 3 or 4 riders behind him hit the binders hard, but all miss him. Now you can see the wall of hay bales there. There's one, count them, two riders that hit the hay bales. We're going to see that from another angle. Same start. Keep your eye to the right of the screen. You'll see number 25, David Sadowski. Just as he gets to the right edge of the screen, you'll see him go down. Several riders hit the binders to avoid him. There, the two on the left, the red and the blue machine, go crashing into the hay bales. You see them go down there. Now, from the other angle again, you can see number 25 there in about in 6th place. He's behind number 19, Freddie Spencer, number 68, Mike Smith, and number 17, Scott Russell. Now watch as he goes down. He hits with another rider. He goes down. Riders behind him hard on the binders. Several bikes off the track to the right. But Sadowski gets up unhurt. Here we have another shot. There's Mike Smith making a move on number 17. That's Scott Russell. Number 19, Freddie Spencer, chases in 4th. Now there's a great shot as Spencer powers out of a turn. Okay, there's Russell, number 17, makes a move on number 2. Oh, but he gets a little bit sideways. You can see him look back there. Just about lost it after making a great move. Renfro, 17, hot into the corners, breaking down. Number 2 tries to put a move on the inside, but Renfro slams the door. Here's a start of Superbike Racing. Now watch for number 68 right there. That's Mike Smith. Oh, he gets tangled up with number 76, and it nearly gets him off, but he manages to save it and pull back in. He lost about 30 or 40 places there. Here it is again in slow motion. Watch Smith. He starts to drift a little bit wide to the outside. 76 grabs his back end. And 68, Mike Smith manages to save it into the grass but pulls it back. Now here's a very interesting horseshoe chicane at Loudon. You can see it spit a rider off. That's Randy Renfro. Renfro's day is over. He seems unhurt. The marshals run over to help him pick up the bike. He's not going to wait around. He knows his day's over. Now, here's the start of a Supersport 750 race at Loudon. Very tight, dense packed field here. This is where it can be very dangerous. The bikes are very graceful here, but this is where the trouble often happens, and it does here as a rider gets high-sided, just thrown off the bike. Everyone misses him. He's up okay. Now, here they come at speed, diving hard into a corner, testing the limits of the tire adhesion. Oh, and one man breaks that barrier and goes sliding off the track. Textbook slide, though, and he's up unhurt. Here we are at that horseshoe chicane at Loudon again. It's downhill and very twisty, a very tricky bit of riding to negotiate this turn. Here we'll see as a few riders go through. You'll see a rider come through your frame very quickly here, just a moment. Oh, and there, another bike gets thrashed. We're going to see this again in slow motion in just a moment. Maybe we can pick up a little bit more of what happened. There's the bike, and already end over end, pieces flying off. Now, here's Scott Russell, number 17, being chased by three-time World Grand Prix road racing champion Freddie Spencer, number 19. Now watch Spencer here. He's pushing hard, loses the rear end, and he goes sliding off into the safe area. Spencer's up. He's okay. Checking the machine. Now, here it is again in slow motion. Spencer is pushing hard to catch number 17, Scott Russell, for the race lead. Coming around this hard right-hander, and Spencer's rear wheel kicks out from under him and sends him sliding. Texas World Speedway. Watch the back of the pack as two riders hit the outside edge of the track and go spinning. That's number 28, Louis Sacchio, practicing perfect technique. Whoa, and he just misses that spinning rear tire before he runs back to get on the bike. Now, when we see this in slow motion again, watch the back of the pack, the right side of the screen, and you can see number 28, Owen Weichel's arm gets run over by a number 16. You can see Weichel there. He's sitting nursing an injured arm. There he is. He's okay, just shaken up in that incredible fall. Now, there goes Sacchio. He's down. Weichel down behind him, and oh, Weichel's arm gets smashed over. It's amazing that he didn't come out of that with more injuries. Absolutely incredible. Sacchio tries to get up a little bit soon. That's not his bike anyway. And oh, he just misses that spinning rear tire. 10 points for acrobatic moves. Road America, watch hard as 120 and 48 get together. 120 goes down, 48 manages to keep it up somehow and slides along the barricade. Here it is again. Watch the contact and down instantly hard. He gets up immediately though and over the rail. You can see it again in super slow motion here as 48 comes in under 120 as 120 is drifting to the outside, nowhere to go. Neither rider wanting to give room. And there's the result. Both race days are over. Now on to dirt track racing. The open-wheeled weekend warriors race on tight, confining dirt tracks and love to get together. Now here's a group that's ready for global warming. Who needs snow when you've got guts? Oh, and a little get off and could have been tragic. Everybody's up all right. Starts are always tricky, as this man demonstrates for us. Now, here's 7 of the finest warriors in the business, streaking down the field. Everyone makes it without any collisions. Now, that's the way to make a race. Here comes our winner, back to pick up his trophy. Yeah, just give me one. I'll just take one. Yep, whoa, whoa, whoa. Should have turned off that turbo boost button. Now, here it is again in slow motion. You'll see, whoa. Oh, rewarded for his efforts. Now, here's an aggressive man. Watch the guy on the right as he charges hard down the field. His belt breaks loose and sends him spinning. Also a good example of why to keep that helmet chin strap buckled. Here it is again in slow motion. Charges hard, aggressively off the line. He's getting everything out of that machine when the belt breaks loose. Right there, you can see it. And sends him end over end over end. That could have been a serious accident. But he rolls to a stop. He's okay. Very shaken up. And now that we've broken all the snowmobiles, let's go ice racing. With a few minor modifications to the bikes, like screws through the tires for traction, these guys are ready to hit the lake. Monster trucks. These beasts normally have only one purpose, to crush cars. But watch now. We'll show you something you don't see every day. 2 monster cars, chained together, going to pull apart a family car. This should be fun. Let's watch. And rip! Just tore it right apart. Tore it right apart. We're going to watch that again in slow motion, just for fun. Now, here's a monster vet. Look at that beauty. And it's no powder puff. It smashes over those cars. Windshield smashing out. Watch the tires crinkle as it hits the ground. Here it is again. Up and over. What a beautiful machine. Fortunately, not all these machines stay as beautiful as they start. And even though this car has a very light body, it's obviously got some power and weight to it to mangle those cars beneath it like it does. You can really see the movement in slow motion as those windshields just explode out of the car frame. Now, here's a Ford Mustang that's trying to keep up with that Corvette. He's given it all he's got in this first go and launches that Mustang into the air and flips it, rolls it completely over, rocking back and forth. Let's take another look at that. Yeah, I'm sure he wishes he had this to do over again. Now, the cars he's going on top of have already been smashed down almost flat by that Vette. And so when this Mustang launches itself into the air, watch the front wheels. It doesn't really have anything to land on, and consequently the Mustang flips over. There it is, up in the air, and really nothing to land on with those big, huge front wheels, and smashes what was a very beautiful, very expensive monster truck. Nothing to do now but call in the wreckers. Would anyone like to buy a slightly used Mustang? Dragsters. Now this guy is a power guy. He's got two engines in the back there. You can see it lifts the front end completely off the ground without any problem, straight down the runway, and sparks fly. Now here's the jet cars. These jet funny cars are absolutely spectacular. Over 250 miles an hour in just under 7 seconds. We'll watch here as the two cars warm up and get into position for their takeoff. A lot of flame, a lot of smoke, a lot of noise. You see as they focus that jet exhaust how it shakes the entire car. Just a moment here, they'll edge up to the line. Here they go. They're just punching it just enough to get up to the start line. And they're off. A little odd, the car on the left, Fighting Irish, takes off sooner, but the car on the right ends up winning this one at 255 miles an hour in 6.16 seconds. Absolutely spectacular. Now there's a jet rail taking off. Not much competition there as the rail on the right gets up to a top speed of about 30 miles an hour and hits his drag chute. Two funny cars, a VW and what looks to be a Ford, take off, sending a shower of sparks down the runway. Now here's something you don't see every day, and there's probably a very good reason for it. Two dragsters tied together, ready for a tug of war. There they go. Two equally powered dragsters is going to have this result just about every time. Not either one going very far. Now, here's a more traditional rear-engine dragster taking off the start, but you can see here in just a moment the car begins to twist on him, and there's nowhere to go. The power all comes from one side and spins the rail, broken and twisted as it comes to an abrupt halt. Here it is again in slow motion. You can see how the car just twists as the power is laid on, and there's nothing to do but hang on from this point. Spectacular crash. And a bumpy ride for that driver. Hill climbing. It's simple. Just make it to the top of a nearly vertical sandy hill. It's a snap. Well, everyone, that wraps it up for Point of Impact. We hope you enjoyed watching the show as much as we enjoyed putting it together. For everyone at Power Sports Productions, I'm Bob Baxter. We'll see you at the races.